Hey, and welcome to She TV, the place women come to become powerfully feminine from the inside out. And today I'm here to talk to you about heartbreak. And there's so many reasons why I want to share this with you, but essentially what I'm going to pass to you today are the 3 things you should not do when you're experiencing heartbreak, and the 3 things that you should do when you're experiencing heartbreak. So heartbreak. This is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So deep and rich, this experience that's very, very deep and human. And I wanted to share with you some of my expertise around this today. And as something that is in fact both been a strong personal experience of mine throughout my life, and something I end up working on with my clients a lot. And I'm also going to give you some context to things. The first thing that I want to share is that I am talking to you about this because I have just come through 4 months of heartbreak myself. I broke up with my partner just over 4 months ago and have gone through a very targeted, deep, rich process of healing the heartbreak. And I've basically had to follow my own methods and what I teach. And what I want to do today is share with you some aspects of that. If you're on today, it's probably because this topic title has attracted you to this beautiful topic actually, which is discussing the healing of heartbreak. And the second reason why I'm sharing this to you is, frankly, I have been observing more and more over the last year in the women that are in my communities, and in discussions with some wonderful relationship coaches that I work with and admire, that the problem is many women are not actually able to attract the kind of truly masculine, high value man that they actually really seek and desire, for the simple reason that they have not overcome heartbreak. They have not addressed the heartbreak of the past and what we call baggage, which I think is a bit of a derogatory word, but the effect that heartbreak leaves you with. And when it is not addressed and it is not processed and healed, it's very hard for you to be open, available and ready and even visible, frankly, to the kind of high quality masculine man you actually desire. So this is why I'm kind of rewinding the clock a little bit, if you like, and discussing the healing of heartbreak that is an essential component, a necessary component for you if you are, seeking a great partner. And the healing of heartbreak is also a deeply feminine process. And so there's a few things I want to teach to you today, and essentially I want to talk to you firstly about the 3 things not to do when you are in heartbreak, and then I want to talk to you about the 3 things to do and that you need to recover and heal from heartbreak. And I really encourage you to stay all the way until the end, and the reason is the very last one I'm going to give you some deeper information. It's the most important thing that you need to know about. Before we talk about the 3 things not to do, heartbreak could have been happening because you broke up last week, last month, or last year. If it is not healed and processed, it stays resonant inside you like a big lump. And when it isn't addressed, processed, and healed, what ends up happening is you try to enter a new relationship, and the triggers around it, the things that were left unresolved inside of yourself, get triggered by the potential new partner or people you're dating, and that is not fair to them any more so than it would be fair to you if a man had not processed his past relationships. So if you want to make yourself really available to a great new partner, this is an important thing to do, whether it was last week, last month, or last year, okay? And let's just take a new relationship out of the picture altogether. It's just really important for you. Life looks very different when you've come through this. Life feels very different when you go through a healing process of heartbreak. You're just more open, you're more available to life, you're more available to love in whatever form it presents itself to you. I just want to share again, I've just gone through a 4-month process of dealing with and healing the heartbreak, and it's been the quickest recovery I've ever experienced. And part of that reason is because I dived in very deep. I turned very much toward my side of the story, my pain, my experiences, what's my side of this, feeling the intensity of the severing that happens in the heartbreak experience. I'm going to talk to you more about this at the end here, but remarkably fast. And so it doesn't have to take forever. And there's a lot of fallacies around there about what you need to do to move on from heartbreak, a lot of fallacies. But I'm really here to talk to you about these 3 things not to do and these 3 things to do. So let's start there, okay? The 3 things not to do if you have just broken up with somebody and you are experiencing heartbreak, even if it's not what you're recognizing as heartbreak or you are acknowledging is happening inside you. The first thing not to do when you're experiencing heartbreak is to share all about your heartbreak in social media. Why not? Heartbreak is a breach of your energy. It's a very intense, very human experience, okay? It's one of the most painful things that we experience as a human being is going through heartbreak. There's an experience of what's called the wound that is, again, it's very human. This is unisex, what I'm talking about now. And for you to publicize that information is not going to work in your favor. It is not acknowledging the level of vulnerability that the heartbreak is that you are experiencing. And it actually opens you up to the wrong kind of feedback that the general public and even your Facebook friend list are not actually versed in to actually help you with. And what tends to happen is all the wrong kind of feedback, ideas, and well-meaning support, well-meaning but ill-advised support, ends up coming toward you, okay? The second thing not to do when you've just broken up with somebody is to criticize, accuse, or blame your ex, especially publicly again. This is an avoidance of your own pain. This doesn't honor and acknowledge that you did love this person, and I'm assuming in this scenario that this was a decent person. There's just been a breakup, and it really does not honor your own heart. And the other thing it doesn't do is it doesn't allow you to be very honest with yourself about your side of this relationship and how or why it ended. Now, just as a little caveat or side note there, relationships end at times. It's normal, it's okay. So we can't make the ending of relationships some big story about you or your inability to love or be relationshipable or anything. That's just not true. They end, okay? The third thing not to do if you are experiencing heartbreak or have just broken up with somebody is, and this is important, is to avoid the pain. So heartbreak hurts like hell. It's like this massive stabbing in your heart or this punch to the belly. If you've had a very deep, intimate, emotionally deep, intense, or deeply sexual relationship with somebody, the ripping experience that we experience when they leave is bordering on unbearable. Now, it's not unbearable because this is a revelation of the human condition that we are right in the middle of when we're in the middle of heartbreak. And so there is a bittersweetness to this that when it's facilitated well, when you know what to do sequentially to move through it, it can be an actually very beautiful process of learning and self-knowledge, of opening to others that are there to support you. And with the revision process you can go through as you're sequentially moving through the healing process, you can get a lot more clarity on yourself, who you are, what you want, your boundaries, and who it is that you want as a life partner moving forward. Okay? So I'm going to move on to the 3 things to do, or what I'd say are called the 3 things that you need to help facilitate the motion through heartbreak. Okay? The first one is community. Now, what I mean by that is either intimate, close friends, it may be a spiritual community, it may be family if you're close to them, and any of these people are not going to rattle your cage and say the wrong things. Now, I'm speaking from the fact that I have an incredible community of friends and a spiritual community that know how to hold somebody through heartbreak, because we're all very well versed and trained in how to do that. And so I had to rest on them whilst going through my heartbreak, even though I know what to do, if that makes sense. Now, I want to give a little caveat and warning here that well-meaning friends and family often give all the wrong advice. They do not know the energetic and spiritual mechanisms behind heartbreak, and they don't understand what you're going through in the moment. And it's also very uncomfortable to them because of the amount of discomfort you're in. Okay? Community meaning good community, community that is there to support you. So be discerning in that time. Be discerning. It may be time to not talk to some people if you find them giving you the wrong type of feedback. The second thing that you need to help facilitate a beautiful motion through heartbreak toward healing and then ultimately happiness is a spiritual practice. What I mean by a spiritual practice means a depth of practice, a practice that takes you inside and toward yourself. And for me, that's a meditation practice. And then there are also certain healing spiritual practices that my community does and I do with my private clients that help facilitate the understanding of what you're going through and the depth of experience that you can have of your own heart actually as you go through the healing process. So a spiritual practice can massively help facilitate this rich understanding of the human condition that you are experiencing in this phase. It's an essential component, I have noticed. Now, the third component, and this is the one I wanted you to wait for, is a systematic process to go through to heal the heartbreak and to move you toward happiness, okay? So I'm talking to you about how to move from heartbreak to happiness. And then when I speak of happiness, I'm talking about thence being available for love again. Having faith in love, having faith in the masculine, having faith in the divine in order that you can move forward freely. So this is where I come in. I have developed a process and I've created a training called the Relationship Reboot Salon that shows you how to systematically move through 4 weeks that will show you how to heal heartbreak at the depths, how to own your side in what's going on, how to heal the wounds that you have to the masculine in general, and how to actually create space for the new inside of yourself and also in your physical environment. So that's something that I'm actually relaunching at the moment, and I wanted to present to you. If it is that you're listening to this because you're experiencing heartbreak right now, and that when you really know how to do this and you know how to sequentially go through a healing process, it's super rich and powerful in terms of your self-knowledge and your ability to move through it relatively fast. It doesn't have to take a long time. However, my caveat here is it does take a lot of wherewithal inside of you to turn toward the pain that you have, to have the courage to do that, to not go down the blame shame game about the ex, and to know that behind the personalities in this, which is you and the ex-partner, that there's something more global going on that you can be healing inside of yourself. And so that's what I would love to be your guided mentor for. I'm going to put a link here for some further information on that and further information on things that I'm seeing around heartbreak that I'd love you to check out. And I also want to encourage you to please put any comments or questions below in order that I can see if I can give you some guidance on those questions. If you're going through heartbreak, please feel free, if you'd like here, to just share that you're having that experience, so that I can acknowledge that with you, and so that you can feel that you are not alone, because that's one thing that we really do often feel, is that we're very alone in the experience of heartbreak, and that it is really very possible for this to heal, and really heal fully and completely, and that suddenly life looks joyful again, it looks hopeful again, you suddenly want to live, want to work and express yourself, and you're going to turn up very differently when you start dating again, when you go through this process. So this is what I wanted to share with you today, and I hope that these 3 things not to do and these 3 things to do give you some context as to how to conduct yourself in the process of moving from heartbreak to happiness. So click up here, or in the description box below, there's a link where I'm going to share a little bit more about this. Please click on that so that you can learn a bit more about how to move from heartbreak to happiness.